A boy once bought something with bread. That boy became the most photographed American of the century, more than the president. He ran his own newspaper. He told Lincoln to his face that black soldiers were paid less, and he was born a slave. No school, no book, no right to read. But that is the end. The end is not the interesting part. The interesting part is the bread and what he did with it. Think about the last thing you bought. You gave money. You got something back. That is how buying works. This boy had no money at all. He had one piece of bread, and he found something he wanted more than food. He wanted to know what letters meant, so he made a trade. He carried his bread out into the street. He gave it to the hungry children there, and they gave him something back. They gave him a lesson. He wrote about it himself many years later. He called it the more valuable bread of knowledge. Now, most stories about him begin with the terrible parts, and there were terrible parts. We are not going to spend our time there today. We are going to stay with the boy and the bread. What he did in that street is the most useful thing in his whole life. Useful to you. Sitting here, learning a language. He did not steal it. He did not wait for someone to give it to him. He bought it. His name was Frederick Douglass. He was born in February 1818 in Talbot County in the state of Maryland. We know the month, we know the year, we do not know the day. And here is the strange part. Neither did he. He wrote, "I have no accurate knowledge of my age." He never saw any paper with his name and his birthday on it. And it was not only him. He wrote that he never met one person who could tell him their own birthday. Not one in all those years. Think about that for a moment. Not a poor childhood. Not a hard childhood. A childhood with no date at the start of it. I want you to sit with that. It is easy to read past. Most of us know our birthday. We know it before we can spell our own name. Somebody tells us. Somebody writes it down. Somebody puts a number on a paper. And that number follows us for the rest of our life. He had none of that. When he wanted to know how old he was, there was nobody to ask and nothing to look at. He wrote that this made him unhappy, even as a small child. Not because of the missing party, because of the missing paper. A paper with your name on it means somebody wrote you down. It means you are a person that a record can hold. He was born into slavery. That is the plain word for it. We will use it once. Then we will talk about what he did. When he was still small, he was sent to the city of Baltimore. He went to live in the house of a man named Hugh Auld, and there something ordinary happened. The woman of the house began to teach him to read. Just letters, just the beginning. Then her husband found out, and he stopped it. He said one sentence, and that sentence changed the boy's whole life. But not in the way the man expected. He said it would forever unfit him to be a slave. Stop there. Read that sentence again, slowly. Learning to read would make this boy forever unfit to be a slave. The man meant it as a warning. The boy heard it as a map. Frederick wrote about that moment later, and his words are very simple. He wrote, "From that moment, I understood the pathway from slavery to freedom." Look at what just happened. A grown man tried to close a door, and he explained why he was closing it. In doing that, he told the boy exactly what was behind it. Reading was forbidden, and forbidden means valuable. Nobody locks an empty room. So the boy decided he was going to learn to read. He had no school, he had no teacher, he had no book, he had bread, and he had time between errands. That was the whole plan. He bought it. Here is the part I want you to hear carefully. This is a method. It is not a beautiful one. It is small and patient and ordinary. First, the bread. He was fed better than the poor children in the street outside. So he carried bread with him, and he gave it away. And in return, those children taught him letters. A little at a time. He never wrote down their names. He wanted to. He said so. He wanted to thank them. But he wrote that prudence forbids. Teaching him was dangerous for them. So they are the most important teachers in this story. And we will never know who they were. Second, the errands. When he was sent out on an errand, he took his book with him. And he did the first part of the errand quickly on purpose. The time he saved became time to study before he came back. He did not find time. He made it out of walking fast. Third, the book. He was about 12 years old. That was when he got hold of a book called The Columbian Orator. And he wrote, "Every opportunity I got, I used to read this book. Bread. Errands. One book. That is it. That is the whole method. And look at what is missing from that list. There is no teacher who believed in him. There is no school that let him in. There is no kind stranger with a gift arriving at the right moment. There's no special talent either. Nothing in his own account says he was clever. What is in it is a boy who wanted it badly enough to give away his lunch. Everything on the list is small, and everything on it is his. A piece of bread he could have eaten. A few minutes he made by walking faster, one book. He read it again and again until the words were his. Maybe you are waiting for the right teacher, or the right app, or the right morning when you finally feel ready. He did not have any of those either. He bought it. Now I have to tell you something. It is the reason I made this episode. Look for Frederick Douglass on the internet today. You will find a famous sentence. It goes like this. Once you learn to read, you will be forever free. You will see it on posters. You will see it under photographs of him. You may have heard it in another video about his life. I read all 3 of the books he wrote about himself. The one from 1845, the one from 1855, and the long one from 1881. Those words are not in any of them. I am not telling you he never said it out loud. Somewhere he may have. I cannot know that. I am telling you this. It is not in his books. And here is why that matters. Because the sentence he did write is better. In the long book, he remembers hearing that warning about reading, and he answers it. In his own head, in his own words, he wrote, "Knowledge unfits a child to be a slave." Hear the difference. The first sentence is a promise from someone else. You will be free. The second one is a boy alone. A boy deciding what he now knows to be true. He did not need a beautiful quote. He had a plan and a piece of bread. Now, 3 quick questions. Take your time. I will wait. Question 1. What did the boy give away to get his lessons? His bread. He gave it to the hungry children in the street, and they gave him letters back. Question 2. What did the man of the house say reading would do to him? It would forever unfit him to be a slave. He meant it as a warning. The boy heard it as a map. Question 3. That famous sentence. Once you learn to read, you will be forever free. Is it in his books? No, it is in none of the 3. What he did right is better. Knowledge unfits a child to be a slave. Years passed, the boy became a young man. On the 3rd of September, 1838, he chose his day to escape. He dressed as a sailor. He got onto a train going north. The money for that ticket came from a woman. Her name was Anna Murray. In less than 24 hours, he reached New York City. By train, by ferry boat, and on foot. And there he declared himself free. 7 years later, in 1845, he published a book. It was about his own life. He wrote it himself. That was the point. He died on the 20th of February, 1895 in Washington. By then, he was one of the most photographed people in America. But I keep going back to the street in Baltimore. A boy with bread in his hand, giving it away one lesson at a time. Now let me ask you something, gently. You are learning English. Some days you say you have no time. I say that too. Everybody says it. He had no time either. He also had no right. Reading was forbidden to him. No teacher, no school, no book of his own, and no permission to want one. You have the right. And you have a phone in your pocket. It has more English in it than that boy saw in his whole childhood. You do not need to be brave like him. That is not what I am asking. Just take the small piece of time you have today. Spend it the way he spent his bread. Buy one lesson, then come back tomorrow and buy another one. Thank you for listening with me today. I will see you next time.